the shepherd dog suddenly rushed to the edge of the pit, barking urgently and non-stop. Down below, a baby elephant was trapped, its front legs sinking into the soft sand, eyes wide and begging for help. Jake tried to jump in and pull, but it was no use. The elephant was too heavy. Tears welled up, but the dog refused to give up. Stay with us until the end of the video, because what happened 5 years later will truly take your breath away. George was a retired veterinarian, living alone on a small ranch in southern Florida. He was 72 years old, with silver hair and a thin frame, soft-spoken and quiet. His only companion was Jake, a gray-coated shepherd dog who had been by his side for more than 9 years. Every morning, they walked the trails through the nearby sandhills and sparse forests, a peaceful routine few people even noticed. One May morning, right after a night of heavy rain, the sun had just peeked through the clouds when Jake suddenly bolted off the trail, sprinting toward the northern dune. George panicked and ran after him, calling out, but Jake didn't return. When George caught up, Jake was barking furiously near a pit where the ground had just collapsed. Down inside, a baby elephant, no one knew from where, was stuck deep in the sand, trembling and exhausted, its legs sinking lower by the second. George froze in disbelief. An elephant? Out here? How could he possibly help? "Jake, no," he murmured. "It's too heavy." He called the dog to leave, but Jake stood firm, barking and glancing back at him as if pleading for help. George hesitated. If he called animal control, would they sedate the elephant? Take it away? Would anyone even believe his story? And then, Jake refused to back down. He ran around the pit, then suddenly took off into the trees. 10 minutes passed. Then Jake returned, leading a group of forest surveyors who had been camping nearby. Thanks to Jake's GPS collar, they were able to pinpoint the exact location. George was stunned. Jake had found help, all by himself. The rescue team moved fast, bringing in ropes, planks, and lifting gear. For over an hour, with everyone's combined strength, the baby elephant was finally lifted out of the pit, alive and safe. It was exhausted, but breathing. And before leaving, it did something no one expected. It stepped toward Jake and gently touched its forehead to his. A silent, unforgettable thank you. The team around them gasped and wept. Some filmed the moment, but strangely, the story never went viral. Perhaps the rescue team chose to keep it private. George rarely told anyone. He didn't need to. Jake stayed the same quiet, loyal, except now. Every time they passed that hill, Jake would pause and look, as if remembering. Exactly 5 years later to the day, Jake barked again, running back toward the hill. George, older and slower now, followed carefully. And when he arrived, his breath caught in his chest. A herd of elephants, 6 of them, was standing at the forest's edge. One elephant stepped forward. It was the same one, now fully grown. On its back, tied with vines, was a bundle of wildflowers, a gift, it seemed. George's eyes filled with tears. Jake sat down, tail wagging softly, eyes calm and wise. The herd stood silently for a moment, then turned and slowly walked back into the trees. All that remained was the small bundle of flowers, left gently in the sand under the afternoon sunday. From that day on, George kept the dried bouquet on a little shelf, next to Jake's photo. Because a year after the elephants returned, Jake passed away peacefully of old age. But to George, and maybe to that herd of elephants too, the shepherd dog still lived on. Sometimes, a silent act of kindness can echo far beyond our lives, even into the hearts of another species. But if you think this was the most miraculous story, you haven't heard about the dog who swam through a raging flood to save a baby elephant. Don't miss the next video, right beside this one, and see why the whole world cried for that little dog.